My name is Cameron Reynoldson. I'm currently a computer science major, and my small group is a computer science pod.
My name is Terrence Winter. I'm a public health major, and I was a part of the TIP Scholars Program.
My name is Merdil Medella, and I'm a computer science major, and the small group that I was in was the computer science pod.
My name's Miranda Weed, and I am a biology, either pre-med or pre-dent major, and I am a part of a first-year interest group this semester.
My name is Austin Scheibmeyer. I am a neuroscience major, and I was involved in a first-year interest group this year.
My biggest concern from transitioning to high school to college was the fact that I might not find my passion here at UT. I knew I had an interest in computer science, but I wasn't quite sure that I loved it yet.
Coming from high school to college, I was worried that I wasn't going to be able to make friends because I was coming from so far away, and I didn't bring a lot of my colleagues from high school. So the nature of the classrooms, where you'd hear the stories about you'd have a lecture hall and it'd be 500 to 1,000 students, was kind of overwhelming to me, even though I wanted to get away, but I didn't want to feel alone at the same time.
As every college freshman can attest to, a few of the fears that we all have is, can we fit into such a large university? Can we make the grades that we're so used to from high school? And how are we going to make a name for ourselves? And how are we going to establish ourselves in such a large community? And that's one of the things the small group environment has definitely helped with, is learning to cope with those struggles and overcoming them, or if we're in the process of overcoming them as freshmen.
So I was definitely concerned about meeting new people, and also I was concerned about transitioning from high school academically to college academically. I was worried about, I guess, the workload in college, because I'd heard a lot and I really wasn't sure what to expect really with it. I didn't know how much harder it would be or if it would be around the same. So that was definitely a concern, just not knowing how much of a difference it was going to be.
I think that was my biggest concern coming into college from high school, was trying to figure out the balance between my academics and my extracurricular activities and my athletic events and social events. And I guess after the first couple of weeks, you start getting into motion, you start figuring it out. So then my next concern was figuring out, how am I going to make friends? And one of the ways that I was able to start making friends was I joined several groups, which had also been a concern of mine, because you get to campus here, there's over 1,000 groups to join. I was like, well, what groups am I going to join? And through the couple groups that I've joined, like Triathlon Team and Hellraisers, I've made some very good connections.
My small group helped facilitate my transition into college by setting me up for success. So my pod mentor always had lessons planned about things that he wished he had learned his freshman year. And the small groups are designed to help you with that. They're designed to put people that are in your classes in a small group and gear you up to do homework together and to study for exams together. So, everyone offers, that's kind of the point of studying in groups, because everyone offers different insights. Someone might know how to solve one problem, and someone might know how to solve another. And if you didn't know how to solve either, well, now you know how to solve both, as opposed to spending 3 hours trying to learn the same thing. And I think that's a good thing.
So you're all taking the same classes, you generally have the same schedule. And so because you're all going through the same things, you relate to one another extremely well, and it kind of fosters a connection, like a small family, if you will. So it kind of gets you connected to the campus in a way.
There were a lot of unknowns when you come into college, and I think the small group has definitely helped me kind of understand how college works and move beyond the fact that I'm a deer-in-the-headlights freshman.
So it's definitely helped me meet people and make connections with people who are also freshmen, who kind of want to get to the point where you're going. So it's nice to be able to share that with them and to know other people are going through the same things as you. My small group definitely helped me in meeting new people who were in the same major as me, and also being able to form connections where I could study with them, or we could just really talk about kind of our journey and the problems that we're having. I definitely had people who were going through the same things as me.
My small group provided a lot of opportunities for us to not only get to know each other, but also get to know the campus. We went on a scavenger hunt. We've had several seminars come in. We've been out to eat with them. They've showed us around several of the campus resources. And yeah, it's just been great having that group, be able to experience UT with that group.
So one of the best resources that I've found on campus since coming to UT has been the abundance of assistance and help that people are willing to give. So whether it be calculus lab, peer tutoring, mentorship, or group study sessions, the extra help definitely serves as a catalyst for grade improvement and overall understanding of the subject. So, academic advisor. And a lot of kids are scared to go to their academic advisor because they feel like, oh, I'm going there to get help, I should be able to figure this out on my own, but really they're just here to help you. Like, they're on your side. They're here to help you have a better semester and set you up for success.
Definitely my advisor was a big resource. Being able to go talk to him whenever I needed to ask about future classes or current classes, it was definitely good to be able to go talk to him if I needed to. Also, one thing that I found was the interactive degree audit, which is where you can see what classes you need to take for your major and if you're on the right track to graduating on time in 4 years.
The FIG helped me become better aware of what was available on campus. Like I said, so now I have 20 to 30 kids in a class that I'm now comfortable with. I've been able to form study groups with them. We actually have a group message with our FIG mentor in it as well, so whenever we're stressed out or need some question answered, it's nice to be able to have a resource there to get that resolved. I think the first place I visited was the University Health Services, which was in the Student Services building, because I got sick. I needed medicine. I didn't bring all the medicine that I needed down from my house here to campus, so that was a great resource. I've also been to the Career Design Center, and I've also taken advantage of my Sanger Learning free tutorials, and then finally office hours have definitely been a big help in my academics.
So the academic advisors here at UT are amazing. At the beginning of the year, I was a little bit overly ambitious, and I signed up for 2 history classes on top of 5 other classes that I already had. And about 2 weeks into the semester, I realized that the reading assignments were a little bit too much for me to handle. So I immediately jumped to go visit my advisor, and he was nothing but helpful. He offered a ton of solutions to get through the problem that I had, and a bunch of resources to set me up for success for my first semester. I can't tell you how much easier my semester is now that I went to my ACT.
She was able to walk me through my degree plan, and she was accessible so that if I had questions, I can go back to her. So possible classes that I could have taken, or prerequisites, or even going to like visual and performing arts, she was able to help me through all of that. So she made my first round of registration extremely stress-free.
One of the experiences I had was I got to go into her office, and I was typical freshman. I was getting concerned about if this was a major that I really wanted to do, and she was able to provide me with all the different options, all the different tracks that I could do, all the different certificates I could partake in, and so that was a good experience.
So one self-advising tool that I found super useful was the degree plan checklist. Not only was I able to check off all of the credits I already had, but I was also able to plan out my next 4 years.
So in terms of self-advising, I think one of the best resources that the university offers, and every major has this, these resources that you can go online and you can look up degree plans. And I think that's the best resource that I have is at any point in time I can go look up, hey, is this course actually used for my degree or not? And whenever it comes to time to register for classes, that's one of the few things that I'm always looking at. I have a favorite. It's on my favorites, and it's very useful in terms of mapping out your schedule for the next 4 years. Can I graduate in 4 years? What do I need to do? Do I need to take summer courses? And that's one of the things I have on my wall. Is I have a little poster of like this is what I need to take sophomore year. This is what I need to take junior year, and I have it mapped out.
Those I first found out about the interactive degree audit through my FIG, and once we became acquainted with it and were shown how to use it, I've definitely run at least 4 interactive degree audits. I've mapped out all 4 years, and that was through being able to find my degree plan online, and also being able to see the different degree options available was convenient, especially for my major.
So he took time out of his normal day and out of his research time to kind of help us and help his class succeed, which I think is great.
My first semester, my chemistry professor was extremely helpful to me because I didn't do well on my first exam, so she scheduled an office hour for students who didn't do well, in which she directly, introduced herself to me and said, "This is your schedule." She went over through all the classes I was taking. If you do what you need to do, you should be able to succeed. And just that conversation was kind of liberating for me. So it enabled me to do a lot better in her class as my grades rose as the class went on, and was able to develop a relationship that I kind of needed at that stage in my career.
One of the most memorable situations from a lecture was the first time I asked my CS professor, a question, and it was something that I didn't really understand the concepts that he was explaining. So before that, I always thought of myself as, man, everybody else in this class is smarter than me, and I don't know if I can ask questions because the professor's going to think I'm slacking, I'm not reading the textbook or whatever. So when I asked my question, and the first response he had was, "Wow, that's a good question," it moved me beyond the stage of, I shouldn't ask questions to, yeah, maybe I can, and it's okay because the professor, he thinks it's a good question, so it's probably not a dumb question. So yeah.
In my first year interest group, we got to meet with my chemistry professor, and the class is huge. It's 500 people. So to be able to just sit there and with only 20 people and listen to him talk, you got a better feel for who he was as a person, and it made it a lot less scary to go up to him and approach him in the future.
Definitely in my undergraduate studies course, which is the UGS course, I had a lab that I was working on, and I was very concerned on how to proceed with the experiment and how I was going to get my data. And I went up to my professor, I scheduled a time to meet with her since I couldn't make her office hours, and then she pulled me into her lab one day, took 30 to 45 minutes to spend talking to me and help me figure out how to resolve my issues and how to proceed with my experiment, and that definitely made me feel very at ease. And that was my first office hour experience, so I've definitely gone more and more now since seeing how positive it was.
Great.
When you get to college and when you start doing all sorts of different activities and getting advice from people, one of the main things they all say is go to office hours. It's been drilled in my head, and so about mid-September, I finally started to gather the courage, and I made a list of all of my courses and then all their different times, and then I went through all of my course syllabi and made a list of all of their office hour times, and I saw which ones conflicted and which ones didn't. And finally, after doing that, I was like, you know what, you got to start going to these because they're open, you're not doing anything else in that time. And I've never had a bad office hour experience at all. They were definitely very approachable and very easy to talk to, and definitely they just wanted to help you. They wanted to know all of our questions, and they took all the time to make sure that every one of our questions was completely answered.
I've recently discovered the idea that you shouldn't procrastinate in college, ever. Most kids think, including myself, oh, it's just like high school, how hard can it be? Well, the answer is very hard. The tests are harder, the homework is more frequent, and the exams count for a larger percentage of your grade. While it's important to have fun in college, it's also important to remember why you're here and take advantage of the opportunities that you're given.
One thing that I discovered in my first semester was that depending on the program you're in, college can feel a lot like home. And that's something I didn't really expect. The TIPS College program kind of put me in a situation where I kind of felt like I was just in another town, but I was in the same environment. So it made me very comfortable due to really, big demographics, just walking along Speedway and seeing thousands of people going from place to place. It was really surreal, but getting into the classroom and seeing all my peers and like the same kind of people I would see in my calc class, going to my bio class, going to my chem class, I was surprised that I would feel kind of like just at home.
One of the biggest discoveries that I've made is definitely the vibrance of the city. There are a lot of things that I found in Austin that I didn't find back home, and I think a part of that is it's such a big city, and there's so many opportunities here. For example, I think the third week of school we had a job fair, and just for CNS there was about 250 companies there just willing to hire us, and a lot of them were based in Austin. So there's plenty of job opportunities around. Other things in the city that I've discovered, it's such a big city, so there's so many things to do. ACL, Barton Springs, you can run to the Capitol at midnight, and there's so many things to do, and that's a departure from a lot of what we saw back at home. So that's one of the biggest discoveries and one of the benefits of Austin.
Okay, so whenever I came to college, I guess I had a different idea of what it would be like. I definitely thought it was going to be more similar to high school than it kind of is. It's definitely a lot harder than I believed it was going to be. But I've also discovered that if you put time and effort into it, you can do it. It's not impossible, and you just have to really put that time and effort into your classes. I have discovered that high school is a lot different than college, and that college is a lot more work, and that you do have to plan your time out accordingly. However, I've also discovered that you can do it, and that if you put the time and the effort in, you will see like your rewards in your classes. I've definitely had those tests that I've studied a lot in advance for, and it's really paid off, and it makes you feel good, and it makes you feel like you've really accomplished something.
Coming into college, that was one of the most important things people were telling me. They said, you've got to stay in shape. We've all heard of the Freshman 15. And so I immediately joined the triathlon club just because it sounded like something I wanted to do. And after also adding to my list of courses and office hours, their practices, I've been attending as many practices as I possibly can. And it's definitely helped me stay in shape and stay focused on my goals here at UT. And then I also joined the Longhorn Hellraisers, which are a spirit group that paint their faces, paint their chests at the games, and it was great to have that outlet to go with a group of people, kind of get away from the academics here and just cheer on UT and just have an additional support group as well.
I was really surprised about the amount of kind of action that happens on campus on a day-to-day basis, where as long as you walk around, especially in the kind of Speedway, Jester, Gregory area, you can run into something cool every single day. So there would be like, little dances, our club would be having some kind of bake sale. Of course, there are fraternities and sororities recruiting people. You always see that kind of stuff, but cake balls, all this kind of stuff. The amount of just pure activity that's going on is something I wasn't really used to, but I was pleasantly surprised in the fact that everything's so accessible around campus, and like just all the resources and all the people willing to talk to you about something they care about and something they love, something that was really new to me and was pleasantly surprised to see. So Austin is very true to its core when they say keep Austin weird. I've seen a lot of things in the city that I wouldn't see where I'm from in Dallas. The culture is a lot different. Everybody's kind of more open, more expressive. We talk about music capital of the world. There could be people playing, drums on the drag, all the way to when I was a freshman, there was a man with a kilt and some bagpipes just strolling down Dean Keaton. I thought it was a parade. It was just that one man. So Austin's a very interesting, very weird, very cool city for reasons like that.
Surprises, I mean, there's been a lot. Definitely one of the biggest surprises for me has been the lack of structure. I mean, in high school, we knew exactly what we were going to do. Everything was planned out to the minute, and you did it, and there was really no variables in terms of how your day went. But in college, there's so much freedom, and there's so much lack of structure that, it's something that every freshman has to cope with, and it really defines how you progress through your collegiate career. Can you make the best of that freedom, and can you make yourself a better person, a better student, or are you going to misuse that lack of freedom? And that, like I said, that's going to define your collegiate career as well as how you progress after college.
Being able to balance how much time I'm studying, how much sleep I'm getting, whether I'm going to an athletic event or not. I've had to learn how to balance all of those. I think the biggest surprise for me was all the independence we now are granted and given. Definitely figuring out how to transition into the adult world has definitely been the biggest shock to me. I remember the first few weeks I was like trying to convince myself that this wasn't just some trip or vacation, and I wasn't just going straight back home, like I was actually living on campus.
Without a doubt, one of the best parts about being in a small group of other freshmen is the fact that we're all so unique, yet we all share the same goal in that we want to pursue our passion and succeed here at UT. So one piece of advice that I would give to an incoming freshman is definitely to take advantage of the opportunities that you're given. So whether it be to reach out to a peer that might know more than you, or to a professor, or to join a club or get a leadership position, I think you should definitely take advantage of it because it might lead to something in the future that you might not have gotten otherwise.
So having a small community to go to was the single most important thing because it allowed me to foster some connections with the university. And I think that's one of the most core, most important principles of just being a freshman. And I've had statistics working for the program that I was in that most students that drop out of the university don't leave because they're not smart enough, because we don't accept people that couldn't do it. Most of them leave because they don't have a connection to the university. So if they left, they feel like no one would care. So having that small community, people I could go to, talk about anything with, and study with, struggle with, grow with, was very key in me developing as a student and as a person.
The small group has definitely facilitated me meeting new people from my major, people who are interested in the same things that I am in the medical field, and just getting to do fun stuff with them. One time we explored the campus through a scavenger hunt. We've gone to Union Bowling. So it's been really fun. We've done fun things where you really get to know them well, but you also have people that you can study with if you want to study in a group.
Walking into biology and chemistry those first few weeks, didn't really know anyone until after I met with my FIG, found out there were 20, 30 other people in my same situation, and we've all started sitting together, we formed a group message, we study sometimes together, so that's definitely been a big help.
So I reached out to a kid who's already interned at Google, Facebook, and Microsoft, and I asked him, how'd you do it? And he said, okay, if I tell you, you're gonna have to work extremely hard. You're gonna have to put in a lot of time after class. And I was like, sure, I'll do it. And so we worked all semester. He was giving me problems, giving me things to learn outside of class. And although it took a lot of time, I think it'll definitely pay off in the future because I might not have been able to get an internship otherwise. It's good to meet some people in the class. It's always good to meet other people in the class because they can help you study, they can help you get ready for the class, they can help you get ready for the tests. But you're not going to know everyone in the class, which is okay. And
so we can agree that it is very important to be connected to university, but you kind of have to put yourself out there. And it's extremely rewarding because here at our university, we're very creative people. If there's a club on campus or an organization that you care about or are mildly interested in, it exists somewhere here, or you can start it for yourself. So that way in particular, there's plenty of clubs on campus. You can join, go to a meeting, talk to some people, make some friendships, and that way you can get connected and do something you care about, something you love, something that makes you happy, and it kind of keeps you going.
The best advice I could give an incoming freshman to UT is that, you don't make the same mistake twice. And that's something I learned very recently, is that, coming in from high school, the transition is very difficult, and people have really no clue what's going on for the first few weeks. And, people are going to make mistakes, and people are going to make wrong choices or whatnot, and they're going to struggle in their classes and whatnot. But the thing is, you have to learn from those mistakes, change whatever skills that you have acquired or change whatever habits that you have, and then move on from that, because in the end, if you learn from your mistakes, you're not going to make the same one again. Learning from your mistakes and learning to change whatever habits you have, whether it's study habits or time management, learning from your mistakes and changing those habits will allow you to be a better student, be a better person, and better acclimate to the university environment and help you as a collegiate student.
I would definitely say to not only to join a first-year interest group, but also just work on your time management skills and make sure that you do plan out what you need to do. And also don't get behind. You don't want to get behind on your work and then be struggling to catch up, because that just causes unneeded stress for you whenever like your tests start coming up. So I would say definitely keep on top of things and make sure that you're getting your work done and not, I guess, procrastinating too much like you did in high school. So with joining organizations and also keeping up with your academics, you definitely have to have a balance. You have to make sure that you're not falling behind on your studies because you're trying to get too involved. I would definitely suggest trying to get involved in organizations and volunteering, but I would also say not to try to like spread yourself too thin. I would say, especially first semester of freshman year, to kind of start out slow. Maybe get involved in a few groups, check out a few groups, but also really concentrate on your studying as well.
I would say don't be afraid to put yourself out there and take the initiative to join different groups and attend office hours. I know that was one of the ways, joining groups was one of the ways I was able to make a lot of friends, and then office hours helped me become better acquainted with the school and with the faculty here.
So I think time management, for me at least, was definitely an acquired skill. For the first few weeks, you're kind of clueless. What do I do now? I have so much free time. I mean, I'm not stuck in an 8-hour class day like I was in high school. You know, classes here an hour, so maybe you have 2 or 3 hours of class a day, and what do you do with the rest of the day? So I think after the first few weeks where you understand, you know, this is what the professor expects of me, this is what I need to do for this class, time management becomes an easier thing in the sense that you know how to portion out your days accordingly to be the best student you can be and to do well in a class.
So I'm from a town of 30,000 people that I've lived in my whole entire life. I never moved from that city. So it was a lot different moving to Austin, which is so large and so different from where I'm from. But for me, what really helped me get used to Austin was just going out and exploring, like doing some of the more like touristy things in Austin, like going to South Congress, going to Zilker Park, just doing all the things that I guess a true Austinite would do. So that's been very fun, and it's helped me get used to my surroundings and become more comfortable in the city. I was very concerned, and I didn't really know how I was going to meet new people. But in the first few weeks, from whenever I moved in to whenever classes start, there's a lot of events going on that you can go to, whether it's volleyball games or organization fairs or things that, if you're living in a dorm, that the dorm puts on. And it's a really good way to go out there and meet people. It's more geared to meeting people. I live in one of the dorms, and I know in the first week or two, they had a lot of, they had speed friending, so you could go out and you could meet people. And that was a good way that I met a lot of people that I still talk to now. So in the first few weeks of school, UT puts on these organization fairs out in front of Gregory, the gym. And it's just almost every organization, it seems like, comes out and they hand you flyers and you can just go see what each group has to offer. So that's what I did, and I found a few groups that I really thought fit what I wanted to be involved in, whether they're service organizations or more like academic, kind of geared to what you want to do. So I found a few that I really enjoyed being involved in. And also I found out how, I guess, easy it is to get involved, that everyone is very welcoming whenever you want to join a group. All the officers of the groups that I've joined have been very good at trying to get you integrated into the group.